Matthew Hill of Night Energy Services. How you doing, Matt?
Chris, hey, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the Raw State podcast today.
Yeah, you bet. We're glad to
Excited.
have you. You guys
You
are
did a great
you're up
job
in.
lining this up. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you very much. You guys are up in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I live here in Edmond, Oklahoma, working for Night Energy Services right now. Me and my amazing wife, Misty Hill, she's doing the same thing I am for SB Directional Services.
Oh, I got you. I see. That's Scott Birch, right?
Scott Birch,
Uh,
that's the guy.
Give him a shout out. There we go.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gonna plug Knight and Scott Birch all day with the SB directional.
Nice. Heard all good things about him. So that's good. What
Amazing. That guy's a wizard when it comes to directional.
what do you guys do at night? Can you give us a little bit of background?
Sure. Luckily, I post a lot about Knight every day on LinkedIn. I think a lot of people see me there. I think I'm about 25,000 people strong right now, working with them on LinkedIn, supporting our industry. Anyway, to plug Knight, we work with operators and service companies, providing drilling, completion, production, fishing, workover, re-entry, inspection, manufacturing, just rental equipment and services solutions. Drill pipe, work strings, BOPs, BOP equipment, whipstocks, reamers, tubular handling services, on. We're in every area of the country that's exploring our resources and always wanting to help partner with anyone now more than ever to find ways to promote their project success right now.
Nice. And what about Midcon? I know that you guys had, I think there was close to like 90 rigs going not too long ago. But what's the outlook now? Like, what's it looking like?
I think the most I've seen at one time in my lifetime was probably about 250 rigs in the Midcon. I mean, I started uh, 16, 17 years ago now, I think. And it was hot and heavy when I started. I think oil was, it eventually climbed up to about $150 a barrel at one point in my early career. So now seeing it down to, I think we're probably at about 25 rigs right now in Oklahoma. I mean, no telling, it could pick up tomorrow. It could go down. I mean, I'm no financial expert on the state of things, but I know we've all seen swings back and forth. If the pendulum swings one way, we'll see it all. But
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just I
I
just
agree.
appreciate you. I just really appreciate you having me on today. I love discussing oil and gas around the world, our own United States oil and gas industry, and of course, you and I've talked before. This is our family. It's our tribe. It's our people. We're honored. We're blessed to work alongside, each other and provide, and I think most of us understand this is the most abundant, affordable, reliable, safe, clean energy for the entire world and for the possibility, as our Declaration of Independence here in the United States says, we want to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. And this industry is vital for that. Every part of our lives that that I can think of, that I have and hope to continue to expand our comforts, our food, our shelter, our clothing, our transportation, economy, healthcare, communications. I mean, technology, education, everything depends on fuel and energy. I don't think
Everything.
there's any better. Yeah, there's no better way to provide fuel to the world right now than utilizing our own American resources. It's
Yeah,
not even a it's not even just a need, it's a moral obligation we have to work, what we do to provide energy for others, not just here, but around the world.
Yeah, I think that people, we have an education problem, I think, in the world as far as petroleum goes, hydrocarbons. And the hydrocarbon industry is the one truly global industry. So a lot of other industries, their ebb and flow is off of petroleum, and most people don't even understand that.
Oh man.
Uh, you take I was talking to one guy that was in the bottling industry, and they make glass bottles. So he said, we're the largest glass bottle manufacturing company in the world, and the oil and gas, the price of oil affects our product because we fire all these kilns and we do all this stuff. So if oil goes really high, our bottling products go really high. I mean, it affects the bottling industry. It affects medical, everything. Everything is affected by petroleum industry. So for those people that don't understand the petroleum industry or think that we're you see some really negative stuff and press about us, they just don't know. It's just a lack of education.
Yep, and I think a lot of cycles that we've seen in the past we've forgotten about as time has gone on in history needs to be looked at. One of the best ways we can secure affordable energy is by producing our own and keeping other countries that don't have our interests in their hearts. Is when we produce our own energy, we can make it so that the state of the price is usually stable, and we shouldn't see these fluctuations in our market like we are now. This is a lot of this is just political. I mean, as we all know.
Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of politics involved in this.
No, it's. I think our entire industry has been pushed back and forth because of politics. I mean, I started in Okeen, Oklahoma. My family grew up farming, ranching, oil and gas. Just hard working people like most. At a young age, I mean, I was able to go out with my dad from rig to rig. I got to meet roughnecks and be on rig sites, and of course I loved every second of it. When you're young, you see all those dirty guys laughing, telling, jokes that you shouldn't hear, seeing magazines you shouldn't see. But it always impacted me, now looking back, how amazing, this industry is. Our collective endeavor, striving to increase our ability to find and extract more of our own resources has given our country more freedom than we've ever had before in our past.
Amen to that.
I mean, we just all need to come together and demand of our leaders that they, I think we have leaders on the left who have worked very hard to shut down our industry, as well as foreign countries who wish us harm. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that would argue that. And most of the world doesn't want to see our republic, expand, and freedom expand, and democracy expand around the globe. They would love to see our own freedoms taken away. So all of us together fighting for our own industry and supporting it and educating others about it is vital. We have to demand of our elected officials that they need to remove the stops for our industry to succeed. They need to remove regulations and restrictions and taxes and permits. Anything that hinders us from drilling, producing, and transporting, refining, our own LNG plants and our own terminals. Nothing should stop in energy. That's the one thing that we have to have, all of us.
Yeah, and do you think that I know that the slowdown from the COVID stuff is going to affect the economy, but what do you see when this thing rebounds? Do you see it coming back like gangbusters, or how, do you think this is going to be a prolonged downturn?
Man, the one thing I've seen in our industry, Chris, is that not apparently no one in this industry has a crystal ball.
Yeah,
I mean, I just we what we all have is a sense of humor. I mean, I haven't talked to one person on the phone in the past month that hasn't laughed along with me about the things that we're facing. I mean,
yeah.
it's just
I had some people reach out to me yesterday when everything was collapsing, or the day before now, and they said I was just laughing when we were talking, and they were like, what is so funny? And I said, well, it's just, you got to laugh at it. You can't walk out. I mean, you'll want to jump off of a tree and hit your head on something really hard if you really focus on the negatives. And so I just, it was just funny that I could laugh in these situations, but it's all knowing that it's going to come back, right?
I have no doubt that the energy has done nothing but be used more since time began. We as humans have learned to use energy, and we've increased the usage of it ever since we began. There's the leaders like Richard Spears. I mean, there's so many great research out. There's so much great research out there that shows just how much energy usage is increased and how there's demand is increased. So we have to, as an industry, be agile and ever changing to produce more quickly, affordably, to give to everyone, to continue our way of life, which is a great way of life. I don't want to give it up. I don't want my kids to have to run around in a loincloth in the woods and throw spears at deer. I love deer meat. I love hunting and fishing, and that's great. But I don't want them to have to do it for survival.
Yeah, you don't want to be living in a tent and catching fish to cook on the fire.
In my head for a minute, that was a great idea. I've done it. I've done it many times over, but I know my wonderful wife and the girls in this house would probably rebel against me right away. That they're probably not going to live in a tent with me for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, that would be we'd be alone, so wouldn't be good.
Or I know each day is going to give us all hurdles and challenges and obstacles to
Yeah,
overcome.
yeah, it seems like the market's kind of trying to balance itself out. I mean, with economies speeding up and slowing down, I mean, oil and gas has to do the same thing, right? So, and I mean, we've seen technological advances in getting the oil out of the ground. So, I mean, we're more efficient today than we were 5 years ago, and even 2 years ago. So, I mean, I think that there's a balancing act happening, and you kind of expect these ups and downs. I don't think anybody could have prepared for this virus thing that's going around, the COVID thing. And you know what? I think that there's a lot of hype behind a lot of that stuff. I I just don't see the numbers matching the fear. So I mean, everything I look at, I try to look at it through different perspectives. I just don't see the I don't see the facts matching the fear on this thing.
I I'm not going to call myself an expert on healthcare viruses, but on the virus, like so many others with brains and a little bit of digging in, I mean, we see that this may possibly be national and global politics slamming into our lives more than any other time we've witnessed. I mean, I've tried to do my best to stick to the guidelines and hope not to get others sick or keep my own family safe, but we, we all need to get back to our regular lives and think we can do so not locked into our homes. I mean, my cousin in Oregon let me know. I mean, he went out late at night. He's done his very best to stay indoors, but at night there's a little local park next to him. No one's there at night. He literally by himself went out to shoot hoops and was, and I am such a big fan of law enforcement and police officers. I really appreciate everything they do, and I know they're doing their best. But sometimes I just scratch my head because they stopped him and told him he had to go home and he couldn't shoot hoops out of by himself shooting hoops on a basketball goal late at night. No one's around. That just doesn't seem.
That's just crazy.
It's ridiculous.
And that's in Oklahoma. That just happened?
That was in Oregon. And I realized
okay.
Yeah, but I get there. my uncle is in Coos Bay. He works for a company. He's in oil and gas as well. He's trying to get a pipeline built across Oregon into an LNG plant on the coast there at Coos Bay. And there's all kinds of regulations and permits trying to stop that. I mean, that's an amazing project that should be done and will help so many people around the United States if they can get that built. But once again, we got a lot of left-wing officials trying to stop, more LNG plants from being built or more pipelines or more drilling. It's just we're all faced with a lot of people that don't understand what energy means to us.
Yeah.
I mean, I got lucky. I was introduced into oil and gas at a young age, and then I got into the industry when I was, I started at HB Rentals. I was there about 10 years. I had opportunities every step of the way to be promoted, travel all over the United States, meet leaders, then Tamar, then Mid Central Energy Services, and now I've been at Knight for a very exciting 3 years. You and I mean, you're in the same boat every day. We've been awarded with incredible leaders, teaching us and freely passing on knowledge. And I hope someday people call it wisdom, how essential our industry is.
Yeah, I think our industry is hurting for mentors and leaders. A lot of the guys that I grew up working with, they're gone. They're no longer in the industry. They were in their 60s and late 50s when I was a young kid in the oil field. And I remember them teaching me ways and teaching me right from wrong and showing me this is the way you do it. And I just don't see, there's not a lot of those guys left.
No, but we're both becoming that age where someone taught me a long time ago, networking isn't about meeting people and finding out what you can do for them. Whenever you're blessed to meet somebody new, you do everything you can to listen to them, find out who they are, and see what you can do for them. That's the reward in our industry, is reaching out, meeting incredible people and minds, and finding out, hey, this is what they do. Maybe I can find a way to be a part of their success and promote them in their career. But I'll just tell everybody, my faith has led me to stuff like that. I mean, I just always ask everyone, do your best, wake up in the morning, seek God first, say your prayers, read the Bible, find a good devotional, take a walk, clear your head, think about your day, make a plan, stick to what you know is true, and fight for what you believe in. make sure your voice is heard every day about what we do and why we do it. My grandfather gave me good advice. Try to take care of your bubble, your wife, your kids, and then each time you take care of all the hurdles and obstacles they're facing, go out from there. How do you help your extended family, your community, your friends, your company, and your industry? I mean, there's a lot of weight on our shoulders, but luckily we can all carry it because we have each other.
Right.
The
Man, that's
the
good advice.
the best people that I've ever met in the entire world, the closest family is who we get to work with. It's never lost its dazzling to me whenever we all see each other. I mean, I'm going to give huge plug to the people in the AADE, the SPE, the Oilfield Helping Hands, the IADC, the API. I mean, we're lucky in Oklahoma to have so many industry groups here that meet on a regular basis and get together. And of course, the Petroleum Alliance. Luckily we have an amazing political side to this industry that's fighting for what we do here in our state and promoting education about what we do, and the OERB. But we all get together over and over and over again, and every time we see each other, it doesn't matter if we saw each other at 4 or 5 meetings in the same week, or if we run into each other at offices, when you're downtown at Devon or Continental or Chesapeake. But if we see each other, you're excited every single time you see them. You're high-fiving, you're giving hugs, you're shaking hands. You're just like, hey, we're here today together, and we're going to go do this for the world. I mean, that's amazing. That's why you're in the right place in the right industry.
Yeah, those events in Oklahoma, I can remember doing many AADE events and things. Everybody's so nice and so friendly. So it's always good camaraderie there. Uh, it's really good. Where do you see the talent for the industry? What do you think that this downturn is going to do to our talent? I know that in 2014, we had a kind of a changing of the guard. A lot of older guys got out of the industry. A lot of younger ones got in, but there's a lot of young kids in the industry now. What's going to happen with these guys?
Man, I hope they find a path to find a career in whatever. Our industry is going to constantly be ups and downs. I mean, it's never not been. I don't ever see it to where it's just a completely stable industry for a long time. No matter how vital it is, we're always going to have opponents. So I think the smartest, most talented people with the best mind just continually find their way to this industry. Somehow, some way, people are led to be here. So I think we're always going to have. When you say talent, I mean I truly believe they're talents. They somehow find their way to this industry because they're successful in what they do. They come into this knowing it's going to be a challenge and are ready to roll up their sleeves. I mean, I there's been so many times, blood, sweat, and tears in this, industry. I mean, like all of us, we've all been out there in the middle of the night in the, extreme temperatures, hot, cold, wet, muddy. Sometimes some scary situations, but we all found a way to succeed and reach out to each other and our teammates. To none of us are in this by ourselves. So luckily those guys will, I think, quickly come into this industry and find out that they've come into a family that's willing to reach out and push them in the direction they need to be going.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
I think if you just share that you want to be a part of it and that you want to help, I think someone somewhere in this industry is going to find you his place to do so.
Yeah, I think some of the best advice I ever got was from my mentor, one of my mentors named Rob Lucas out in California. And Rob was a company man slash engineer for a small production company out there. And he walked into my trailer one day on a location outside of Taft, California. And he said, you want to play cards? And I'm like, yeah, I'll play cards. And he had a long ponytail and he was wearing Bermuda shorts and he didn't look like a company man. I didn't even know who he was, more like a mud logger, if anything. And, and we got to talking and we became really good friends. And he told me, he said, always keep your head down, always keep working. There's always somebody looking. And I didn't really put it all together till later on in my career, but he was right. You know, there's always somebody watching. I think that the talented people out there, the kids that are working, I would give them the same advice. You know, keep your head down, keep working hard. There's going to be people that are watching you. You're going to go through ups and downs, but just keep plowing ahead and keep driving forward, and we're all going to get through it.
Yeah, we're going to get through this because we're a family, and that's what we do. We help each other find a way to get through it. We know it may look different than it did yesterday, and it may look different tomorrow, but we will find ways to make it work. There's nothing in the oil field I've ever been shown that where we can't find a way to get something done. It's all about finding a way to say yes.
That's it. Make it happen.
That's why I get upset about the left-wing liberal eco freaks, because they want to stop us from promoting our industry and our pipelines. And I'm like, look, don't go wear your tinfoil hat, but let's all get down there. I mean, just the tribe stuff where they're like, hey, I mean, it's always about more money. Like, let's just find the bottom line. How much more money do you need so we can come in and develop this pipeline and go through your land? You know, or the left wing, like, what do people really want? They want energy. I'm just flabbergasted by all the stuff that if our industry is making the environment better, we're making health better, we're making lives better. We're not depleting the earth of anything. I mean, there's still plenty of people. There's a lot of people that are in the natural sciences that think natural gas is a renewable resource. You know, the earth is constantly churning at the core, you know, hot magma. We're melting down rocks. You know, who knows? There may be new natural gas pockets popping up all over the earth. We got to continue to explore them. I mean, no telling. I'm, again, no expert on geology, but I just think that we've just scratched the surface of what our industry is capable of.
Oh, there's no doubt. And I mean, but there's so much hypocrisy in some of this stuff. It's just, you know, I worked in LA. I worked down, one of my first oil field jobs was drilling fluids engineer on a rig. And I was down in North Hollywood, right 2 streets over from Rodeo Drive on Mount. It's right behind the Beverly Center Mall. And we had a rig. It was Kenai 44. It was actually in the movie Armageddon.
Wow.
And so I was on that rig. And I mean, you're in LA, and in parts of LA, like East LA, Compton, Watts, and those areas, there's oil fields in there. East LA has oil fields. Everywhere in there I've drilled and I've completed wells in that area, and they were shooting a commercial on our rig for Ford. It was back when the crew cab truck just came out, and some of these like really leftist people are in Hollywood, right? So they were out there. There was a production assistant talking to me and some other people, and she said, "So what do you guys do out here?" And I said, "Well, this is how you get oil out of the ground. Like, you have to mine for it. We explore for it. We drill and we complete a well." And she goes, "Oh, so there's going to be a gas station here." And I was like, Jesus. So, I mean, that's the stuff that, you really, we really deal with that kind of uneducated, mess. So,
That's
I
all it
think,
takes. I truly believe the more we all share the truth behind what we do, the more people will be on our side. We I think a lot of smart people just, when dumb arguments are hurled at you, you usually duck and move on and continue what you're doing, because I mean, most people in our industry, they're successful because they keep doing what they're doing. They know what they need to get done. They don't let, hurdles stop them. And a lot of us don't have time in our heads for arguing with dumb people about what we do. But I think we need to take those opportunities to say, hey, it's not an argument, it's a discussion, and it's an opportunity to teach somebody that has no idea about everything that they use in their life that makes their life better. This might be the chance to have them stop and think and maybe do a little research and find out, and maybe we'll get lucky and give them enough information and opportunity to change their minds and turn to support our industry.
yeah, humanize the people that are in the industry. Is a key. I don't think we do enough. And I'm like you. I've walked away from many conversations where I knew it was going to turn south really quick, and I knew that it just, like, it's just not worth my time. I've got to keep working and keep moving forward. So I'm not going to have this conversation with you about energy right now. But I think we need to stop and have those discussions, and I mean, you see a lot of bad press I see a lot of posts right now of, you know, government representatives that don't understand our industry, and they're actually people that are getting paid with our tax dollars. And I just think it's sad
Yeah,
that
our
if
industry's
we don't,
tax dollars. You're right.
yeah, if we don't do anything and we don't say anything, it's not doing the industry any good. So I think now's the time to start getting together. I love this energy strong movement.
Yep.
I
Oil
love
Patch
these
Proud, Energy
all path
Strong,
proud. Yeah.
Power Past
So keep,
Impossible, Energy for All. There's some great uh, key elements that get people thinking.
yeah, and I encourage, the listeners out there to get involved in these groups, and if nothing else, just research what they're saying on LinkedIn and social media channels, and go and follow them, and keep up with the latest. I mean, we all feel like sometimes the industry can feel like this great big monolithic thing, but it's really a small community.
Yeah,
That
we're a tribe. We're a family. We're definitely learning how to be more connected and more active with each other. And thank goodness for like as you mentioned and I mentioned, the groups that we have that promote our industry: the Petroleum Alliance, the AADE, the SPE, the Oilfield Helping Hands, API, IADC, on and on. If you don't mind, I'm going to plug. I actually have a website, oilfieldtailgate.com. We put together, just as a group of industry vendors. We just have it. We have a tailgate every home game in Norman that we all just wanted to provide a place to have the oil field in Oklahoma come and hang out. And we found a great excuse. Hey, here's a home game for a college team. we're going to rent out this space and provide food and drinks and some live music for everybody. But when I put this website together, it was at first just going to put everybody's logos on there and have people sign in to show up to the tailgate. But I was like, wait a minute, I've got all this space. I'm going to put every link to every possible industry event and group on here. So if anybody needs to find all the groups in Oklahoma, the www.oilfieldtailgate.com is the website we put together, and we put everybody's links to all the groups on there. And then we made up a calendar. There's a link to the calendar that has every Oilfield event and meeting that we could find, all those groups meetings, plus like their clay shoots and golf tournaments, anything we could find to promote our industry here in Oklahoma. We have tried to put that on there.
That's fantastic.
So if anybody needs any resources for the Midcon on how to find events or meetings or groups, please reach out to me. I'm just so honored to be a part of, this family, and anything I can do to help others get plugged in, to volunteer or promote, or if you can get your company to sponsor. Right now, especially, I'm sure every group is hoping that we can still have the events and the meetings. So do your best to reach, dig in deep and ask, your bosses for sponsorship money for all these things coming up. We're still going to have them somehow, some way. We'll be there.
Yeah, they're going to come back. So events will come back, and we'll, one of our guests that's scheduled is Jeff Kennedy with Roseland Oil and Gas. So we'll have Jeff
Roseland
on.
Oil and Gas. I've been to their shows. They do a great job.
And so we'll plug them as well. But yeah, it's all about helping each other out. Small community of oilfield people. You matter, like everybody matters. And I think that we can do a better job of getting together and supporting one another, and just keep the positive energy going.
Yeah, and I need to do a better job myself. Just as we spoke, there's been times where you have Twitter as well? The my handle on Twitter is Traveling Matt, and for a while I was using it as a video game to smash liberals. I was, I pretended like, okay, here's my video game. Here's 120 characters that I use to go out and find liberals to destroy. And then at the end of the day, however many replies you get that are basically hate mail are your gold coins. That's terrible, right?
It's so tempting, though. It was
so tempting, and I did that for a while. But I had one of my good friends call me out. That's a softer heart than me. Say, hey, Matt, this is an anytime you run across somebody that doesn't understand what we do, don't waste that opportunity to show some love and compassion and all the gifts that God's give you to give them some knowledge, and maybe you can turn their mind around and give them the opportunity to figure out how important what we do is.
Yeah, it's fighting fire with fire is not going to work.
No.
But you always, what's the old saying? You get more bees with honey than you do with vinegar. So
yeah.
It's tempting. It's tempting, right? Because sometimes, we're blessed with our own knowledge, and we know the industry back and front, and then we expect everybody else to know it, and people just don't know what we do. So a lot of times it's just spoken out of ignorance, and maybe a little bit of media pandering to one side or the other, but I think we can identify these situations and enter into a good conversation and a good discussion about it that's going to equal be beneficial for both parties.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's right now, the state of our industry, everything we talked about today, we probably all need to really stop and take a deep breath and say, hey, so as much as I can, whenever I can, I'm going to write and emails, however you want to get in touch with your leaders. Let them know that we want restrictions taken away from our industry to do, drilling, producing, transporting, refining, anything we can do to support our industry with our elected officials, and then the people in our own families and our communities and our states and nationally, do everything you can to calmly and collectively give them the opportunity to see what we do as vital and share that information. Absolutely agree with all of that.
Yeah. Well, Matt, I appreciate your time and thanks for being on the show, man. It's been a pleasure having you.
It's a pleasure, Chris. I really appreciate what you're doing and how you're working so hard to support our industry.
Yeah, well, thank you. That's kind words, and so you guys can reach out to Matt on LinkedIn. He's all over the place on there. Actually, I love him sharing jobs and stuff like that. Thanks again for doing that. I see that you work really hard to share jobs, and I try to share what you share out there as well. And people can also remember oilfieldtailgate.com. You can go there and get information on events and just a good networking tool for the industry as well. And we'll just keep pressing forward, brother.
Yeah, you call me anytime, Chris. Any way I can support you or your career or what you're doing, I really appreciate it again. And thanks again to my wife, SB Directional Services, and of course my own company, Night Energy Services. We just everybody in our industry is doing an amazing job, and just thank you all so much for allowing me to be part of what you do.
Thank you, Matt. You take care, be safe, and
Take
we'll be
care,
talking
brother. Be
soon.
blessed. God
Okay,
bless you.
thank you.
Bye bye.